Today, we're talking about Scott Pilgrim versus the world. Right there. Homebrew is where the heart is. It's where dungeon masters, murder hobos, dice goblins, and chaos gremlins come together to turn big ideas into unforgettable adventures. So how do you take that spark, a setting, a villain, a mechanic, and turn it into something that actually works at the table? Simple. We brew it with an acronym. We've got 6 flavorful categories to walk through, designed to help you build your campaigns to capture the feel of your favorite worlds and IPs. So we're going through a bunch of categories today. That's B, base build. What are the core components? R, resonance and vibe. This is where we make our poetic emo hearts sing. E, extra froth. What makes this wildly fun? What's the spice or razzle dazzle? W, weird for us. That's strange little twist you'd never find on D&D Beyond. I, an inciting quest. Every good campaign needs a reason to leave home and somehow end up in Toronto. T, threat level. Let's talk danger. Who or what is the big bad and how are they related to your ex? And is it just really yourself? Are you really yourself? You're the villain. You know, you got to get your own version of self-respect. Anyway, Taylor, we've both seen Scott Pilgrim before. I'm assuming it's also why we were a little self-conscious about our hair and we put on hats.
Yep. That's the reason.
Absolutely. So, Taylor, if we were going to do Scott Pilgrim versus the world, what is an essential thing? Base build. What's the essentials?
I'm ready. I've been playing with this all day. Ready? Bards. We need Battle of the Bands. This is the one time that all bards make sense. Like, are you kidding me? Every single person has to be, not every single person, but for the most part, I think this, it's a freaking video game, basically. That's the whole freaking thing. And I think the Battle of the Bands is such an important part of this whole freaking story. Like, gosh, tell me how many times you've laughed at so sad. Thank you. Like, that's crazy. But anyway, I think having mostly bards would be very fun. You could play with some other things as well, but like, even a lot of the X's are so like into themselves and so like glamour oriented. Like, it's giving so much bard. That I think it's really, really funny. And there's so much nerd about it that I think is really funny. So I think you could definitely play with that a lot.
Sure. So the Battle of the Bands, important stuff. Because, I mean, not only does it happen at the very first X shows up and they have the dance battle and stuff like that, but it also occurs, there's an actual thing where, like, they battle through music against X number 3 and X numbers 5 and 6. That's pretty important to the plot, and so we should definitely include that. The other part, of course, is you just need single combat.
Yes.
The problem is, normally you have a D&D party of like 3 or 4 people. So how do we get everybody to do single combat?
I'm thinking one person is like the Scott Pilgrim character. One person is like the Ramona Flowers character. One player. One person is Scott's ex. And then one person is like Scott's roommate and or sister. In the same ways that we've done stuff like The Grinch and stuff like that, where it's like, technically there's a main character, and then technically the rest of the party like revolves around that. But at the same time, I wonder if it's more so that is happening and they choose to help or not, depending on what the combat is, you know? Or maybe they have their own enemy to fight in that as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I think this is the thing that was the most confusing part about this for me, because like a lot of it is actually very simple. You just give them some sort of D&D class and they fight one-on-one or whatever, and then you have cool vibes and great music and hilarious smash cuts and caricature people to fight, etc. Scott Pilgrim is just a really interesting D&D one-shot or campaign in general. Right? Yeah. Very simple, very easy. Complicated part is, how do you make a party fit in here? How do you do all this? So I think there's a couple things we could talk through, right?
Yeah.
One option is, like the party as a whole helps do the Battle of the Bands specifically. Yeah. And the Battle of the Bands happens a couple times, and those Battle of the Bands parts, we need mechanics to accurately do how good is the music you're playing and how can you fight via music. That's one option. And if we do have it where we've talked about where we're going to have someone be Scott Pilgrim, the main character, right? And everyone else is kind of be down to be a side character. And we have the spotlight stuff. If you watch our Grinch special, Christmas special, we talk more about this, right? But that particular piece, right? it probably means like if there's 7 fights, let's just say they're all 7. That's a lot of them. That's probably a 2-shot, 3-shot if there's 7 fights, because fights take a while. 7 X's, 7 deadly X's. 7 deadly X's means that probably like the party members are only affiliated with like 3 or 4 of them, of these X's, right? And so each of the party members only fights like 3 or 4 of them in some shape or form. Because like there's that moment with the 4th X where Ramona fights and just takes out a giant hammer from her bag. Why? There's no logic. It's just there for fun. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
And they fight. So we would want to talk through some of that, of like how the fighting and works in general, but also how the battle of the bands goes together. What would you like to tackle first?
I actually had a thought about the fighting. So let's talk about the fighting, because I think Battle of the Bands, I mean, it's so fun that we could probably figure that out. But I think as far as the fighting goes and that one-on-one aspect of all the things, I haven't done, but I've seen some combats where if the fighting is 1v1, the other players have tools and actions that they can use on their turns to affect the fight one way or another. And I think that is actually super fascinating. What can be really interesting if we really make the combat down to, this is, you're in front of each other, this is Street Fighter style, you have an action. Like, that's what you have.
Right.
Don't talk about no bonus actions. Don't talk about no movement. We're not talking about all that. You have an action. You are punching, you are kicking, you are stabbing, you are slashing, you are throwing a bow and arrow, whatever, right? And then and the same thing for the villain. It's like, action, great, that's what you did. Roll if it was successful or not. And we get to role play why it was unsuccessful. For the other 3 players' turns, it is, here's a list of 3 things that you can do on your turn as someone outside the battle. Technically, you can tap out, and you can literally switch with the person fighting, and now you are fighting. You know what I mean? That's cool. If you have those supporting characters who have out of combat actions, a short list that can turn the tide of the battle if they're actually successful, and the combat is quick like that, that creates, I think, a very fun, fast-paced video game style combat that can end either very quickly for the bad guy or end very quickly for the good guy. Like, it really can, like, be cool.
Let's come up with like the actual items that could be like things they could do. So switch out, take or give item, shout something.
Like inspiration, if they're all bards, basically like bardic inspiration, steal, like sleight of hand.
Yep, take or give, right?
And then tapping out.
The only question I would have for you is switching out is, why wouldn't the party just switch out all the time? Like, cause like, Taylor fights first, he's down to 1 health, we switch out. Now it's Kyle's turn and he switches out after he goes down to 1 health, and the third person comes in. Like, then they have 4 health pools. I mean, you could do it that way, but is that a problem? It would be the only thing I ask.
There has to be an environment turn. And I think that affects all people, not just the person who's fighting. And I think in that sense, yeah, you could switch out and get 1 health. But if you're fighting Gideon, like the environment, the room you are fighting him in decides to go, cool, I'm going to open a hole in the ground. And then the person that had 1 health that's sitting in the back dies. Like, it's like, well, can't get away from that one. Like, you know, I think that could be a solve, is like, because I think it's also interesting if each environment changes depending on who you're fighting.
Right.
So giving the environments a turn. Or you could make switching out not a thing, which I also think is totally fine.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple ways to solve that, right? Like, you could say the bosses just have a lot of health and are deadly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I would say when you have something like this, right? What does every contest in Scott Pilgrim sort of represent, right? It's a challenge to Scott's ego. And his ability to understand himself, and like also kind of recognize like his ideas around love, romance, and pining after people is unhealthy, right? These X's are signs that Ramona is unhealthy, and he's in danger of becoming one of these X's is also unhealthy, right? Yeah. So in many ways, right? I think if the boss has a lot of health, but has some sort of trick to be defeated based on something that's like a moral, ethical, personality lesson, quirk type deal, I think that would solve the problem of switching out too. Like Taylor's character just wants to beat up the person, but Kyle's character understands that this person really just needs a hug. When they were young and their tragic backstory, because this is an important part. Like Scott figures out through each of these characters' backstories how to defeat them, and one person's like, "Oh, what this person actually needs is." A toy car because they never got one when they were young and their dad gave it to them, but their mom took it away,
Yeah, that's fascinating. I think that's fun in the sense maybe like make a skill check in action. Because one, I think that makes the skill checks more important. Yeah. But two, it allows for like, oh, I'm going to do an insight check to actually figure out what's going on with this guy's head.
Right. Let's talk about the Battle of the Bands mechanics. And how would we do this, Taylor?
We just write songs for 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding. That's crazy. But, if you actually get a room of musicians and you sit there and you actually like battle with songs in real life, video that and let me know.
Yeah, please.
That sounds amazing. I think a group performance check is just a fascinating way to have a battle. I think literally having them pick songs that you play on Spotify as like the Battle of the Bands is really fascinating. It's more of an effect than it is anything else, and it mostly hurts his self-esteem.
Well, that's the point, sort of. The point is like, oh man, we lost. Like that's sort of the vibe. Yeah. I would say you should give them a modified health system of like the band has like 3 hit points. Right? Yeah. Each band has 3 hit points, and you're going to roll group performance checks. Yeah. You'll add up all the numbers, and you'll see who gets higher, right? Yeah. And then whoever gets higher gets to take off a health point. And you get bonuses for playing cool songs or doing a performance, actually playing or singing a song, etc. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yes.
Part of the fun of all of this is the X's are all interesting, right? They're all really fun. So let's come up with at least 2 or 3 X's that are in this scenario and or the inciting quest. Like who are these X's? How are they related? Like what's going on here?
I mean, you need a movie star X because that's like one of the coolest X's out there. It's like especially because you see him everywhere. Like that's like he's in the background on billboards throughout the movie, and you're like, and it doesn't really click until it's like, wait a minute, your X is Chris Evans? Like that's crazy. Yeah. If there's gonna be Battle of the Bands, I think one of the X's very much like a homegirl with the white hair.
Brie Larson,
we need Brie Larson. We need I'm in a rock band now, and now you have to fight me, and that makes the Battle of the Bands make sense and like point and make it have a point. I don't know, and I guess they're like, I think the cool thing about Gideon is that he orchestrated the whole thing, so I do think that's a fascinating part of it. If one of the X's is kind of the mastermind per se,
organizer X, movie star X, and the rival band X. Yeah. I mean, my favorite X is Todd, the vegan. His whole vibe of like, I don't partake of anything with a face.
Right. He's wild.
And then
he has vegan powers.
Yeah, the vegan powers give him psychic powers. And it's like, what does that even mean? What does being vegan even mean? It just basically just means he's better than you. It's like
Right. I do think that's funny.
So good. I really want like vegan X or the equivalent of the vegan. Yeah. Like what's another? Can we make them like a keto diet X? Like they're better than you for being keto?
No, 100% keto diet X. What's it called? The thing that people do when they work out, but it's like outside and there's a bunch of stuff they do and they don't breathe.
They don't breathe?
What is it called? It's like
CrossFit?
CrossFit.
Oh, CrossFit X. Oh, yes,
CrossFit
please.
X.
CrossFit X thinks they're better than you. CrossFit people, like, hey, nothing wrong with CrossFit. Excellent workout. But, like, CrossFit people are nuts about CrossFit. So that's so good. Oh, my God. Yeah. Okay. So what's how does this all get started?
I mean, literally, the way it starts in the movie, and I'm pretty sure it starts in the graphic novel, he falls in love with a random person. Like I think it's literally one of the players meets someone, falls head over heels in love immediately with someone who can teleport through magical doors. Yeah, it has to be like that. That moment is
so crazy.
Yeah, it has to be that kind of like, oh, this person is magical and this is the love of my life. everybody else is going on this ride with me, and it's like, ugh, like it's like
Yep.
here he goes again, like, you know.
There he goes.
Exactly.
There he goes again.
That to me feels like the best inciting quest.
Yeah. And whoever the organizer X is, that's the evil, that's the ultimate villain, and you kind of have to build it off that. Okay, so we've jumped and skipped a bunch because like a lot of the stuff that we're doing is great. Like the vegan, the CrossFit X, that was extra froth just for me.
That was amazing.
But the other piece of this, the final piece, is just the smash cuts and the great music are the best parts of this movie. Like yeah, the premise is cool, but like the editing and the way that the feel and the vibe. So definitely think about the music you're going to play. Maybe just use the soundtrack, but think about it and like look up some excellent like needle drop playlists so that the vibes are right, and try and keep it all within the same genre because they're all within this genre, right? Of like this rock genre.
Yes.
But like if you want to do it where it's all like 80s like disco, like do it, right?
Crazy.
But keep it within the field so it kind of has the right feel and vibe. Look for needle drops that are like a needle drop playlist and use that, if not just the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack. And then also, just again, for the right vibes, every single X should be a wild, hilarious caricature and be super arrogant and very like over the top and dramatic. Like as a GM, I would recommend you write out their initial monologue and make it ridiculous. Make it, you know, like I'm here and like I'm here to see you go down to the ground and I'm going to pound you to defeat you. I'm going to defeat you. Like, you know, like make it ridiculous, make it silly. So that's what I would say. Anything else for you that to make sure that we get all the right vibes?
Yeah, I would say just to add on to your villain monologue thing, guys, lean heavily into anime villain monologues. Like set some of their, because the thing I think that's cool about Scott Pilgrim is that a villain will have this crazy wild monologue and Scott's like, bro, I just wanted to buy a smoothie. Like it's like he's just there living his life and the exes come out of nowhere and act like he's supposed, and that's a joke. They're like, you didn't know this? She didn't tell you that? Like, how do you not, did you not get the memo? And he's like, what memo? Like, it's like, I'm just trying to date this girl. And they're like, okay, well, I have to kill you, so sorry. Like, that's it's really funny. So, like, lean into that anime, like, for 1,000 years I've waited for this moment. What moment? Like, it's like, that's really funny. And to double down on what Kyle said earlier about how cool the smash cuts are in the movie, Kyle does this really cool thing as a GM where he spends no more than like 5 minutes on a person. I think it is wildly fun to do that for something like Scott Pilgrim, where it's like you are sitting there and you're getting a drink and then someone goes, I'm going to kill you now. Why? Smash cut to the next player who's somewhere else. Like that's very funny. And it like highlights the humor and the joy of what's really happening. Like really just like play with time in the way that like, it's not going to hurt your players if you do that. Like, trust me, it's going to make it more fun.
Yeah, like whenever a moment feels cool or fun or like done in that way, I always try to switch back and forth. My general thing is I use the 5-minute rule, which is like, I'm never trying to spend more than 5 minutes anywhere. And I'm looking around that 5-minute mark. Like I have sometimes when I first started doing this, I just had my phone up and I had a stopwatch going on my phone, looking. And every like 5 minutes or so, I would just be like, all right, we're gonna try and wrap this up. As soon as there's like an interesting statement or point, we're gonna be like, and we're moving to the next person. If your players are great, or if you're great, like if someone says like, you know, for 1,000 years I've been waiting for this moment, right? And then we say we smash cut, and then I, as the barista, I'm like, oh, the barista at the coffee shop that your character is at is like, oh man, for 1,000 years I've been waiting for this moment. Here's your latte, sir. Right. You know, everyone's gonna be like, that's hilarious, right? Like we just smash cut it and we said the same thing. Like that's the kind of stuff that Edgar Wright, the director, is really good at. So I would very much like encourage that sort of feel. That's a great point. Love it. We're going to recap this Scott Pilgrim versus the World D&D session. Okay, so we're going to do like Scott Pilgrim versus the World. We need Battle of the Bands. We need single combat. We're going to make sure that Scott Pilgrim is like there's a main character and everybody's down to have a main character. We're going to have 3 supporting characters. They're all associated with the Scott Pilgrim character in some way, shape, or form. We're going to reduce combat to just actions. We're not going to worry about movement. We're going to take out bonus actions unless they like really help in some way, shape, or form. And party members who are not actively fighting can switch out for the other person in single combat take an item or give an item that's involved in combat, sound something for inspiration, and the environment for these combats should change, so they're full of danger, or like we can see the stages falling apart, and all the bosses / X's have big health pools, but can be defeated through solving their emotional traumas and problems or learning deep insight about them. Also, every party member can take an action to do an insight check to learn backstories and understand their opponents better. For Battle of the Bands, we're going to give each band 3 HP, have group performance check contest to damage the other bands 1 HP each time, best of 3, and play or choosing cool songs equals better bonuses on your performance checks. We want specific X's. The organizer X, who puts it all together, probably involved in the music industry. A movie star X, like Lucas Lee / Chris Evans. And a rival band X, like Envy Adams. And just for us, we created a CrossFit X who thinks they're better than you because they do CrossFit. I love it. And the plot is one of the players finds and falls in love with someone who has evil exes, and make sure to lean into every ex and writing anime villain monologues for them. Make sure to lean into a bunch of needle drops and use the 5-minute rule, consistently swapping between perspectives and player focuses whenever a moment feels cool or fun or done. With all that in mind, that was a longer episode that we recorded, but we love Scott Pilgrim. Thanks so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and comment if you get a chance to run this or if you've got your own ideas. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
This is how we brew it. Jurassic Park, How to Train Your Dragon, The Princess Bride, Inception, Matrix, Mad Max, Fury Road, John Wick, Ghostbusters, Pokemon, Hunger Games, 28 Days Later.
Hey friends, also just want to shout out our patrons on Patreon, Matthew Matheny, who upgraded to the Covenant Cleric tier. Thanks so much, Matthew. And also our other Follow the Compass tier patrons, Fizz and Fedorba Will. Thanks, everybody. And if you join our Patreon, we would appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more content like this.